The house is quiet. The light is dim. The phone is face down. You sit down, take a deep breath, and he realizes that he prefers it that way. Not for peace, but out of exhaustion. Tired of having to explain myself. Tired of getting hurt. Perhaps you are watching this alone, in a quiet room, with thoughts that never sleep. You learned how to be alone, because being with people hurt. It hurt to try. It hurt to trust. It hurt to wait for something that never came. Then silence became a refuge, even if it hurts. There is a type of loneliness that is not empty. She is heavy, full of memories, full of unspoken words, full of pent-up disappointments. You didn't walk away out of contempt. You distanced yourself for protection, because nobody teaches you how to deal with abandonment. We only learn to shut ourselves off, slowly. Perhaps you smile when they ask. He says he enjoys his own company, and he even believes it. But deep down she knows. It's not a purely voluntary choice. It's about emotional survival. It's less risky, less expectation. Fewer you remain, less pain. You don't hate people. You hate how you feel after them. The void, frustration, the feeling of not being enough. So you create distance, create a routine. It creates invisible walls, and he calls that freedom. Even though it's loneliness. If this resonated with you just now, it's no coincidence. It's recognition. Your mind knows, your body remembers, and his story explains it. Not all loneliness is desire. Sometimes it's a scar. Sometimes it's a defense mechanism. Sometimes it is silence that screams. If you can relate to this, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. There's a pattern here, a behavior that repeats itself. The choice to be alone, even when there's an invitation, even when there is a chance, even when someone approaches. It's not just shyness, it's not coldness, it's something deeper, something that almost no one names. Many people feel this way, but they don't know how to explain it. They say they like silence, those who tire easily, those people drain your energy. But the truth is different. There's a wound there, a poorly resolved experience, a fear that has become a habit, and the habit became an identity. Have you ever wondered why? Why do you feel better alone? Why do dates tire you out more than they comfort you? Why does the idea of getting involved weigh so heavily on you? Why does trust seem dangerous? These questions are not a sign of weakness. These are signs of a mind that learned early. He learned it wrong, but she learned to survive. Psychology observes this every day. People who don't isolate themselves out of arrogance, but for protection. People who tried to open up, and they got hurt. They expected care, and they received indifference. Then the brain registers it. Relationships are risky. Being alone is about control. This dilemma doesn't scream. He whispers. He appears in apologies, in schedules filled with silence, in short answers, in invitations declined, in unanswered messages, in relationships that are not progressing. Everything seems normal, but on the inside, it's not. The mind tries to help, to avoid further pain, reduce losses, lower your expectations. She creates an emotional shortcut. If I don't get involved, I don't get frustrated. If I don't wait, I'm not disappointed. And so isolation seems logical. This behavior doesn't come from nowhere. He starts early, sometimes in childhood, sometimes in relationships where you needed to mature quickly, when there was no room for error, when it felt dangerous, when depending on someone hurt. The mind learns, she observes, and it adapts. Perhaps you've learned not to bother anyone, not asking for too much. Don't expect caution, because when he waited, it didn't come, or it came broken, so you turned around on your own. He solved it on his own. He cried alone, and he was praised for it. They called that strength. Over time, this force becomes the norm. You don't need anyone. You can handle it. You'll figure it out. But inside, there is tension. Always alert, always in control, always calculating risks. The proximity is starting to feel like a threat, not because the person is bad, but because experience has taught us to fear. The mind associates attachment with loss. Expectation leads to frustration, the affection for emotional debt, so she creates silent rules. Don't get too involved. Don't give up. Don't trust too soon. Don't show neediness. These rules seem protective, but they come at a high price. You start to feel different, more closed off, further away, less available. Not for lack of love, but out of fear of him, fear of dependence, fear of needing it, fear of losing control, and control becomes the priority. Isolation becomes comfortable, predictable, safe. You know what to expect from silence. He doesn't give up. It doesn't disappoint. It doesn't require it. But it doesn't hug either. It does not welcome them. It doesn't cure it. He just keeps everything on pause. Imagine a typical night. Nothing special. You arrive home exhausted. Take off your shoes slowly. Sit on the sofa. The phone vibrates. It's a simple message, an invitation, nothing invasive. But something inside you is holding you back. You look at the screen. Think about replying. He even types something, but delete it. It feels like a strange weight. It's not anger. It's not disinterest. It's premature fatigue. It's the mind remembering. Remembering other times, other conversations, other attempts. Other expectations were created. Other frustrations swallowed. You remember explaining yourself too much, adapting too much, if it hurts too much, and in the end, feeling lonely even when surrounded by people. This hurts more than silence, so you choose not to go. He says he's tired. He says there will have to wait for another time. And some of that is true. You're really tired, but not of the day. He's tired of putting himself in the spotlight to create an opportunity for something to go wrong. Isolation feels like rest, even though it's empty. Later, already in bed, you wonder if you did the right thing. He feels a slight tightness in his chest. Nothing dramatic, just a known nuisance. You wonder what it would be like if things were different. If it were light, if it were safe. But it closes again soon after, because dreaming also hurts. The next day, you continue as normal. It works. It solves problems. Smile when you need to. Nobody notices. Nobody asks. And you learn something new. That's how you can live. It works, but it doesn't heat up. What almost no one realizes is the effort involved. Being alone is not passivity. It's constant inner work. You control what you feel, filter what you say, edit what it shows. Think before you trust. Retreating has become a reflex, not out of coldness, but through emotional memory. From the outside, it looks autonomous, independence, strength. Inside, it's surveillance. You observe everything, the tone of voice, the delay in the response, the gaze that changes. Any sign becomes a warning sign, because your mind has learned to anticipate pain. You don't get attached easily. But when you get attached, you feel too much. And that's scary. So you cut it first. Leave early. It is dated earlier. Prefers to miss the chance rather than reliving the fall. It's a silent mechanism. And no one applauds this invisible effort. There is also guilt. Because I don't feel like others do. Because I didn't want to be there. For rejecting what seems normal. You wonder if something is wrong. If it's broken. But it isn't. He's hurt. And it learned to function that way. Without asking for help. You often miss it. But he doesn't know whose. He feels a specific emptiness. That's something you can't solve by bringing in random people. You don't want company. They want emotional security. You don't want to have to protect yourself all the time. He wants to rest without defending himself. But he doesn't know how to ask for it. Then shut up. Isolation is not the absence of desire. It's excessive caution. It's a fear of reliving old stories. It's about trying not to repeat patterns that have caused harm. You don't hide from the world. You protect yourself from him. Even if it costs you internet access, even if it costs us human warmth. This is the pain that no one sees, because it doesn't make any noise. Over time, this starts to take its toll, not in an explosive way, but silent. Relationships become shallow. Promises don't come to fruition. Connections don't go deep. You are present, but it's not whole. Always keeping some in reserve. Always ready to retreat. Self-esteem also feels affected, not because of a lack of value, but for lack of a mirror. Without deep ties, you start to see yourself less, doubting the impact it causes, based on the space it occupies. How much is desired? Silence does not contradict their fears, and this fuels old insecurities. Decisions change. You choose safer paths, less exposure, less emotional risk, sometimes less growth. You avoid situations where you could get hurt, but it also avoids those that could transform. Life becomes stable, functional, but emotionally narrow. The future is starting to look lonely, not scary, but cold. Can you imagine yourself being able to handle it? As always, it worked, but he feels he's missing something he can't name. A genuine exchange, a place where you don't need to defend yourself, where you can fail without losing affection, and that weighs more than it seems. There is also accumulation, unlived feelings, conversations that never happened, bonds broken too soon. None of this goes away. It is stored in the body, in constant exhaustion, out of irritation for no clear reason. The feeling of always holding something inside, as if relaxing were dangerous. And so the pattern continues. Not because you want to suffer, but why didn't he learn another way? Isolation protects, but it also has limitations. It prevents new wounds, but it keeps the old ones open. And the more time passes, it seems more difficult to change. Even when the heart yearns for something different. You are not broken. This is important to hear. You weren't born cold. You weren't born far away. You adapted. You learned how to survive emotionally. It hurt when it was left open, when trust was expensive. His mind did what it could. She tried to keep you safe. The problem isn't liking being alone. The problem is needing this in order to avoid suffering. When isolation becomes a permanent shield, it's starting to feel heavy. The turnaround begins with awareness, recognizing the pattern, without guilt, no judgment, only with honesty. Something inside me has learned to shut down. Change doesn't mean throwing yourself at others. It's not about forcing yourself to socialize. It's not about becoming someone you're not. It's about starting small. Recognize your limits. To feel fear without obeying it. Allowing presence without promise. Contact us without charge. The mind needs to relearn safety. And that takes time. You don't need to trust everyone. But perhaps you need to stop doubting yourself. Based on your ability to cope, leaving hurts. To say no. To protect oneself without disappearing. The turning point happens when you understand. Closing down was a smart move in the past, but perhaps it's no longer necessary now. You've grown since then. There is strength in letting your guard down little by little, in choosing someone safe, in testing without giving yourself completely, to speak a little more than I would have before, not to please, but in order to exist. The cure is not in excess, not even in total isolation. It's in the middle, where you can be whole without abandoning yourself. You don't need to change everything today. I don't have to prove anything to anyone. Just acknowledging it. Living alone doesn't have to be a prison. It could be a conscious choice. Don't run away. When loneliness ceases to be a defense mechanism, it becomes true rest. And when the bond ceases to be a threat, it becomes a possibility. Perhaps the most hurtful phrase is this one. You didn't choose solitude by choice, you chose this out of necessity. Because at some point, being alone hurt less than opening up. And that doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. A human who learned to survive in silence. Even when nobody noticed. Even when nobody asked. There is a simple truth here. The mind doesn't want to separate you from the world. She wants to protect you from pain. But excessive protection leads to imprisonment. And emotional imprisonment doesn't make a sound. It just gets colder. It cools relationships. Dreams cool down. It cools the feeling. Until you almost forget what it's like to allow yourself to be. You don't need to become a different person. There's no need to expose yourself beyond what you can handle. But perhaps you need to listen to this discomfort, that quiet desire for connection, that weariness of always having to be strong. Perhaps your heart doesn't crave crowds, just a safe place, a place where you don't have to defend yourself all the time, where silence is not a shield. But choose. The mind of someone who lives mostly alone, it's not empty. It's full of stories that weren't lived to the end, full of pent-up feelings, full of misguided care. And when you understand that, something inside is changing. Loneliness ceases to be an identity, and it becomes just a phase that can be overcome. If this video spoke to you, it wasn't by chance. It was recognition. Perhaps you've never put this into words, but he felt it. And feeling it is already a start. You don't have to carry everything alone, not even proving that it can handle everything. There are pains that are only relieved when they are seen, even if in silence. If this reflection made sense to you, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, turn on notifications. Here we talk about wounds that don't show, of pains that don't scream, and from minds that have learned to shut themselves off in order to survive. Because understanding one's own mind, it's the first step to avoid getting lost within it.